So joining us from uAvionix is Mike Tetlow. Mike, you're the UK representative for uAvionix, aren't you? And I think you've got some videos to show us.
Yes, I've made a little home video of how to set up and operate an AV30 multi-function display. It will give you a good idea of what it does and how to use it and how simple it is to use.
So here we have the AV30 as you would see it from your seat in the cockpit. Lots of information readily available to you. There are different pages that you can preset with certain fields that you might use for a particular phase of flight. When you first get it, you can make choices about what those fields will be set up with. Equally, you can decide if you want to have your units in inches or millibars or knots or miles per hour as it suits your aircraft. It's entirely configurable. Thereafter, the setup display is not available unless the aircraft is not moving and you have to press and hold a button in order to get at that menu quite shortly after power comes on. But that's just to make sure that you're not trying to do complicated changes whilst flying an aircraft at the same time. Everything else thereafter is pretty straightforward. So this is a pretty standard display. You can see that it has a DG heading at the top of the screen. That's what I have selected in any case. You might choose differently. You can show your safety altitude for the area. You can show what G you're pulling at that moment in time. You can have indicated airspeed, knots or miles per hour as you choose, your altitude, the baro pressure, whether it's going to be the QNH, QFE, or easily change, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And if you connect the recommended outside air temperature probe, which is made by a company called Davtron, then you would get the OAT displayed, and that will then be computed into a TAS, and you can display the TAS as well as IAS if you so wish. It's infinitely configurable. So I'll just show you how you can flip between the main pages. Just go to the right hand button, press it. There's a more complicated display. It's a different set of data around the outside as I have set it to demonstrate. So we've got vertical speed in the bottom left hand corner. We've got IAS in miles per hour here. We've got the heading, which is derived from the DG heading. It works very much like an old-fashioned gyro-driven instrument, in as much as you datum the heading to a known heading from either a magnetometer, a compass, another device in your aircraft, or indeed even just lining up on a runway and taking that to be the QDM to be the correct heading. So if you want to set the DG heading, then you can adjust it, and let's say that you've picked up that the magnetic heading of the aircraft at this moment is 325, then you just scroll it around to 325 degrees, press the button again, it goes away, and now your DG heading is aligned essentially, and that will give you a good display of the aircraft's magnetic heading for the rest of the flight. And you can have that displayed at the top of the screen as well as digitally on the left, right, or bottom right, as you prefer. The AOA on the left hand side, if I tip the unit back towards me, you'll see that the AOA will increase, and at a pre-configured point, when it becomes too high for the limits of the aircraft that you have, then it will begin to turn amber, and eventually it will turn red, and you can see the pitch changing at the same time. As I let the AOA go down, back to simulating level flight, you can see it goes back to its normal flight instance, green at the bottom of the scale. Right hand side is a scale to show you vertical velocity. So if you would like to know just in relative terms how quickly you're climbing, then in the same way that the AOA strip gauge increases, so with the vertical velocity. Pressing again takes me to another screen. This one I've configured more for navigation. So I want to know the distance to the waypoint. The waypoint is indicated in the bottom left. I might want to know my ground speed in order that I mean the calculation would be done for you by your GPS navigator that's connected to this, but you want to know what your ground speed is, have some idea whether you need to go faster or slower, then that's all displayable to you. Touching on the point of what GPS information is available to you, in itself it has a GPS to derive the attitude and to do the computation for the DG heading. If you want to navigate from it, then you need to connect a separate GPS navigator. If it has a NMEA output, then that's perfect, and you just string the two together. There's one of the input pins on the D-sub connector on the back of the AV30 will go to that external navigator, and then all the data is available to you here on this screen. Personally, in my RV8, I have it connected to a pretty venerable Garmin 496, and it does a fantastic job, and we'll look more at the HSI function in a short while, which is equally driven from that data source. I'll press it again, and that cleans up the display, basically just giving you attitude, pitch and roll.
Well, that was interesting. And also, I think there's a video from uAvionix on the tail beacon.
Yes, we've made a short video to show how easy it is to install a tailBeaconX 250 watt transponder, which gives you antenna diversity at a much easier install and cheaper price point than anything else available on the market.
Fantastic. Let's take a look.
tailBeaconX includes an aviation integrity GPS. The integrated TSO C145E Class Beta 1 GPS eliminates the need for installation of a costly GPS receiver, external antenna, and associated cabling. The design neutralizes concerns about compatibility with existing equipment. A TSO Mode S transponder and a 1090 extended Squitter ADS-B transmitter deliver over 250 watts of power. The impressive performance is delivered by a 60-gram package consuming less than 3 watts. Every watt of tailBeaconX transmit power is sent directly to a proprietary dipole antenna, achieving Aireon-compatible performance equivalent to traditional diversity systems, with an added advantage that all transmissions are sent to ground and sky simultaneously rather than alternating between them. The design eliminates the diversity requirement for installation of 2 separate transponder antennas and corresponding cable runs. As a result, tailBeaconX delivers consistent performance across all installations. Completing the system is a TSO C30C Type 3 LED position light. The entire tailBeaconX system consumes less power than the original incandescent bulb it replaces. Let's take a look at a tailBeaconX installation. The tailBeaconX installation checklist is pretty short. As with any certified install, an STC provides a means of compliance, while the tailBeaconX integrated design eliminates pre-existing equipment compatibility concerns, and the low power consumption simplifies electrical load analysis. tailBeaconX eliminates the installation of 3 new cables and corresponding antennas, minimizing the aircraft disassembly. A single small wire bundle for device control is all that is required. The result is a dramatic reduction in cost, complexity, and downtime. Control head options are designed for industry standard 2 and 3-inch instrument locations, allowing the existing panel and avionics stack to remain unchanged. Remove the existing position light. Install the mounting ring using existing mounting locations. Terminate the wiring and insert the tailBeaconX into the mounting ring. Tighten the anti-rotation screws. After installation, tailBeaconX configures via tablet or smartphone. A simple guided interface minimizes error and prevents so-called non-performing emitters. The wireless configuration reduces required wiring and installation time. This aircraft is now compatible with ground and space-based ADS-B systems. tailBeaconX reduces dependence of the airspace on decades-old legacy equipment. A limited number of configurations prevents mission creep and unexpected costs, while being installable by almost any technician. The unique design delivers consistent performance across aircraft types, while the low-cost hardware and easy installation ensure space-based ADS-B is accessible to all aircraft.
Well, that's fantastic, Mike. Thanks for that. And obviously, people can find out more about uAvionix on your stand on the Fly Alive page.
Absolutely, and at any point, go to our website, and all the tech specs and documentation and some little promotional videos are there to give you more information.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, please give us a like, leave a comment and subscribe.